Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast. And today I'm going to go my review of AEW's Dynamite. Starting off the evening, we go to our first match of the night. It's for the TBS Championship. It is Hikaru Shida versus Mercedes Moné. I thought it was a good match, man. It was a back and forth matchup between Shida and Moné, with Moné keeping the pace of the match. Shida hits a Hurricane Rana on Moné. Moné then hits a Meteora off the apron to the outside, taking out Shida. Moné then hits a backstabber on Shida in the middle of the ring. Shida gets up, hits a Falcon Arrow on Moné in the middle of the ring. Shida then hits Camille with a kendo stick. Moné then capitalizes on that by hitting a Moneymaker on Shida, pins her for the 3, and your winner of the match and still TBS champion is Mercedes Moné. After the match, Baker is here. Camille attacks someone she thinks is Baker, but Baker ends up attacking Mercedes Moné, pretty much sending a message to Moné leading up to their match at All In. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is Adam Page versus Jay Lethal. Page attacks Lethal backstage. The match itself was a good match, back and forth matchup between Page and Lethal, with Page keeping the pace of the match. Page then hits a Deadeye off the apron on Lethal. Page then hits a Death Valley driver on Lethal in the middle of the ring. Lethal then gets up, hits a Lethal combination on Page for a near fall, but Page hits his signature buckshot lariat, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Adam Page. Hats off to Adam Page for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we have Darby Allin. Darby Allin comes to the ring, but he's quickly attacked by Jack Perry. Perry then grabs a microphone and tells Darby Allin that he wants to have a coffin match at All In, and that match is official at All In. It will be Jack Perry defending the TNT title against Darby Allin in a coffin match. Definitely looking forward to that matchup at All In. Moving on from that, we have a Mariah May short film. Mariah May pretty much mocks Toni Storm. She talks about All In and talks about the fact that she wants to take the belt away from Toni Storm. Moving on from that, we have a triple threat match, and the winner will enter the Casino Gauntlet match at All In. It is Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. I thought it was a good match, man. It was a back and forth matchup. Orange Cassidy was keeping the pace of the match, with Orange hitting a Sundog Millionaire in the middle of the ring. Undisputed Kingdom come out to the ring, but they are attacked by Mark Briscoe and Ishii. Roderick Strong then applies a Texas Cloverleaf, but the hold is broken. O'Reilly and Strong then both exchange in the middle of the ring, with Orange Cassidy hitting a double Hurricane Rana on O'Reilly and Strong. Orange then hits a beach break for a near fall, but Orange ultimately hits a roll-up, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Orange Cassidy. Hats off to Orange Cassidy for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we have an Okada and Claudio face-to-face backstage. Claudio talks about the Continental Classic and how tough the Continental Classic tournament was. Okada then mocks Claudio, and Claudio says that he wants to face the real Rainmaker. Definitely all for this matchup. Definitely anticipating this matchup. I think it's going to be a good matchup between Okada and Claudio. Moving on from that, we have a Hook segment. Hook talks about his injured eye, talks about returning to AEW from injury. Hook tells Jericho that he wants his title back. Jericho then mocks Hook. Jericho then says it will be himself versus Hook at All In for the FTW title. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is for the AEW Tag Team titles. It is the Young Bucks versus the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed quickly attacked the Bucks. It was a decent match, back and forth matchup between the Bucks and the Acclaimed, with the Bucks keeping the pace of the match. Billy Gunn is here, but Gunn gets involved in the match. Referee then throws out Billy Gunn. Matt then hits a powerbomb on Bowens on the ramp that looked absolutely brutal. Matt then hits a low blow with the referee being distracted, or out, I should say. FTR are here. Daxton attacks Matt Jackson, and the match ends up turning into a no contest. It looks like there was a little hostility there between FTR and the Acclaimed. Moving on from that, we go into our main event of Dynamite. It is Wheeler Yuta versus Swerve Strickland. Danielson was ringside. It was a great video package from Danielson, by the way, leading up to his match at All In with Swerve. I thought the video package was absolutely awesome. The match between Yuta and Swerve was a good match. Back and forth matchup between Yuta and Swerve, with Swerve keeping the pace throughout the match. Swerve hits 3 house calls on Wheeler Yuta. Referee then sounds for the bell, and your winner of the match is Swerve Strickland. After that, Swerve then sends a message to Bryan Danielson leading up to their match at All In. Couple things I want to talk about here, man, with AEW. It's probably one of the reasons why you guys might think that I was probably getting through the Dynamite review very quickly. There's a lot to talk about with AEW. Number one, man, was the Dynamite show that good last night? No, it was not. I've said it now, especially when last week and this week, the Dynamite shows have not been good. I will say the Dynamite show this week was a lot better than last week, but that's not saying much. I like the continued storylines, if you want to call it that, for the matches leading up to All In, but there's no heat, man. And the reason why I'm saying that, if you look at the situation between Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker, man, there is absolutely no heat between Moné and Baker. It almost seems as if Baker's not even interested in this match, nor is she interested in being AEW right now. And again, I will reiterate, I think it has a lot to do with Baker's ego. I know there was a situation that took place between herself and MJF that ultimately got Britt Baker suspended and fined from AEW. But it just seems like Baker is not really interested in this matchup against Moné at All In. Baker, to me, seems like she wants to be the top dog of AEW. And due to the fact that she was out with injury, I mean, right now she is not the top dog. If I honestly had to say a woman that was a top dog in that women's division right now, it would be Toni Storm, to be honest with you. With Mercedes Moné not being too far from that. Not saying that Baker can't get that top spot eventually, but it's just not going to happen right now. Or at least not until All In. It's just, I feel like the build up towards All In this year is just not there compared to what it was last year. The build towards All In just seems lazy and lackadaisical. The other thing about AEW that, again, I will reiterate multiple times leading up to All In, AEW needs to hit a grand slam coming out of All In. And what I mean by that is, and it's the same thing I've been saying for the past few weeks, if not the past few months, AEW needs to hit the reset button. I know you guys are probably tired of me saying that and tired of hearing that, and it's the same song and dance, and it's constant with me saying that they need to hit the reset button. But I cannot tell you guys how important it is for AEW to hit this reset button. They desperately need it for multiple reasons. AEW, the first 3 years of AEW was a completely different story than what we're getting now. The first 3 years of AEW, they were firing on all cylinders, and AEW was red hot. These past 2 years, man, AEW has been in the toilet for multiple reasons. Whether you look at it from a rating standpoint to just ticket sales to just the overall product of AEW in the past 2 years have been in the toilet. And it's been progressively getting worse. And I mentioned this last week about Tony Khan. Look, man, I'm loving what he's doing over in AEW. I'm glad that AEW's around. But to be brutally honest with y'all, I know he said something about people who are trying to sabotage or take down AEW. I genuinely feel like he is so clueless that Tony Khan is almost self-sabotaging his own company. And he's not the only one doing that. I believe the Young Bucks have a part in that as well. I feel like they have this attitude where they don't give a shit. And they don't care. And that's really what it comes down to. I really genuinely feel like they don't give a shit and don't care about AEW and what they're going to be doing. I know some people are like, oh, well, they got announcements. Well, let's talk about that. Tony Khan has a tendency to, lure fans in, if you will, or lure fans into a Dynamite show based upon these history-making, game-changing announcements that he doesn't even really say anything about. Those announcements should have been done a little bit last night, at least one of the announcements leading up to All In. And hopefully maybe that happens next week, but something needs to happen with AEW. Because to me, honestly, and this goes hand in hand with the TV talks deal, that nobody knows what the hell is going on with AEW and Time Warner and vice versa. It's going to get to a point where I feel as if AEW and Tony Khan sign a TV rights deal with Time Warner and Warner Media, to me, this is almost like an NFL coaching job for Tony Khan, where Tony Khan's in the hot seat. Because it's going to get to a point where if AEW is no longer a viable product, then Time Warner and Warner Media are not going to buy the TV rights for AEW to put it on their television. Time Warner and Warner Media have already got a significant loss with the NBA not being a part of the TNT family anymore. I mean, they lost a lot of money with the NBA leaving and going to NBC Universal. I mean, it was a huge crushing deal for Warner Media and Time Warner. I think Tony Khan's just looking for a lot of money. He's looking for that $1 billion deal from Warner Media and Time Warner right now. And to be brutally honest with you, if I was the executive from Time Warner and Warner Media, I would not be giving Tony Khan that money. I feel as if, I'm not going to sit here and say right now that AEW is not a viable product, but it's going to get to a point where if this keeps going on the way it's going, it's no longer going to be a viable product anymore, and nobody really wants them on TV. And I'm going to give you guys a news flash, man, and I've said this multiple times in the past couple weeks. There's going to be a lot more AEW talent that you don't know of that is going to be jumping ship over to WWE or superstars that were from WWE that are now in AEW looking to go back to WWE. I can 100% see that. Keith Lee, Malachi Black. I know Daniel Garcia was also in the conversation about him possibly going over to WWE. Ricky Starks, Wardlow, the Lucha Bros. There's going to be a lot of talent that's going to be going over from AEW over to WWE. It's going to happen. I'm not sitting here saying it's going to be a mass exodus of talent, but there is going to be an abundance of talent that's possibly going to be, getting out of their contracts or not renewing their contracts with AEW and wanting to go over to WWE. And that's not me bandwagging WWE or AEW. I want both companies to succeed, but right now WWE is firing on all cylinders right now where AEW is not. I know AEW and Tony Khan has mentioned something about doing 2 stadium shows going into 2025. I know there was one stadium show that they were talking about somewhere in Texas and another one possibly in Australia. I'm all for it. Now, I don't know if that's going to be, a move of a pay-per-view from wherever they usually had the pay-per-view at to another location like Texas, or they create a whole new pay-per-view possibly going into Australia. Is it a good deal for AEW? Sure, absolutely. But the product has to match what you are doing, and that's not what we're getting. And ultimately, I feel like if they keep going the route that they're going, AEW is going to pigeonhole themselves severely. A lot of talent on the AEW roster right now are frustrated with not having TV time, frustration with creative, and just frustration with the entire company all in all. And that's why All In this year is very vital and very important. They need to hit the reset button, ladies and gentlemen. It needs to happen. And at this point, I don't give a shit if it's Shane McMahon coming into the company and shaking things up. You bring in Bobby Lashley and MVP. That you have this humongous Casino Gauntlet match where, it's been mentioned multiple times now that they want the who's who a part of this Casino Gauntlet match with some surprises. Let's get a return of Adam Cole. Let's get Kenny Omega back. Let's get, maybe Bobby Lashley, Ricochet, something. You need a shot in the arm so bad right now that it's unreal for this company. And even if they sign a TV deal, and hopefully they do, hopefully they still stick out with Time Warner and Warner Media. But I'm going to tell you guys this right here and now. If he does sign a TV deal, if it's with Warner Media, and hopefully it is, Tony Khan is in the damn hot seat. Because it's going to get to a point, like I said, if it becomes a point where AEW is no longer a viable, anything viable with the company, then it's just not going to work. It needs to be a viable product. And if they're not getting that, and they feel as if that it's not a viable product, and they can't make revenue off AEW, then this is a done deal for AEW and Tony Khan. Tony Khan needs to release some of the reins a little bit. For example, let's say you want to bring in Shane McMahon. I mentioned him multiple times, bringing Shane in to be the mouthpiece for the Elite. Let's bring Shane McMahon to be the general manager of AEW and see where it goes. And have him on screen, on TV, once in a blue moon. For important announcements and so on and so forth, or matchmaking or something like that. WWE's doing that right now with Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Why can't AEW do the same thing? And bringing someone in like Shane is definitely going to get a lot of eyeballs on the product because a lot of people are going to know or want to know what the hell he's doing there, regardless. And nobody thought that we would ever possibly see a McMahon tied to AEW. That's going to put butts in seats, man. Tony Khan needs to pull his head out of his ass and do this. I can't tell you guys how much this needs to happen. These past 2 weeks for AEW has been abysmal, man. It's been awful to watch. There was no reason for Swerve to be on TV last night. None at all. In a wrestling capacity, not at all. I don't give a shit if Swerve came out and did a segment. That's great. There's no reason for Swerve to wrestle Wheeler Yuta. To what? Send a message to Bryan Danielson? The message is already there. This is title versus career. That is it. Wheeler Yuta has nothing to do with this between Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland. Nothing. To me, it seems like Wheeler Yuta was a sacrificial lamb in this storyline between Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta. Or Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland. And I commend Swerve, and I've said this multiple times, Swerve's a great world champion. But Swerve does not need to be wrestling on every single Dynamite every single week. It's going to get exhausting and it's going to get old. Especially if you're putting him in bullshit matches that mean absolutely nothing. Nothing to him and nothing that has anything of resemblance to that world title. Yuta's not getting a title shot anytime soon. The guy just came back from a lengthy injury. There's no, you know what I mean? It's just like you're booking shit just to book shit, and it makes no sense. When we have at least one more week to the biggest show of the year, AEW's biggest show of all time, All In at Wembley. It's their WrestleMania, if you will. And we're booking shit like this. That's the problem I'm having. I know some people might give AEW a break because there was a problem with travel issues with talent. Okay, that was that week. What the hell is going on this week? You got Adam Page versus Jay Lethal. I mean, come on, man. I'm not going to go on a whole Jarrett rant again, but the shit with Jarrett needs to go, man. It needs to go. The Owen Hart Cup Foundation is done. Okay, Bryan Danielson won. He did a great job, and I understand Jarrett's Owen's friend, and they have a friendship. I get that. Jarrett needs to be in the backstage area, and Jay Lethal needs to get the hell away from Jeff Jarrett. Period. Jarrett is a sinking anchor on the career of Jay Lethal. That is my God-honest opinion. Jarrett's had his time. His career is coming to an end. That's where it is. He needs to have a backstage role. Be a part of talent relations. Bring talent in. Train the talent. I don't give a shit. But he does not need to be on TV in the wrestling capacity. Jarrett does nothing for the wrestling capacity of AEW. Nothing. And the minute they contemplate putting the title on Jeff Jarrett, this company's going to be in the toilet even more than it is now. Hands down. That's the shit I'm tired of. You bring in a guy like Jarrett and you put him in a wrestling capacity. It takes away TV time and segments away from people that have been there busting their ass to try to get a TV spot and get a good, a good story going. Guys like Ricky Starks, Wardlow. No, but we're going to put Jeff Jarrett on television. You know what I'm saying, man? Like, get your priorities in order. Like, what the hell are we doing here? That's why I cannot stress this enough of how much of an importance it is for AEW to hit the reset button, come all in. They need to do something. They need to spark interest in the company. If Tony Khan wants to make these goddamn announcements, then make the damn announcements. Seriously. Oh, the announcement are imminent. Oh, it's imminent. Come on, man. You keep teasing these announcements, and not for nothing, half the time the announcements are bullshit anyway. That do nothing. You want to make AEW Ring of Honor. Get that. Ring of Honor is a dead product. It is not the same entity than it once was. And to be honest with you, Ring of Honor was doing a hell of a lot better with the owners that they originally had before Tony Khan came in and bought them. Ring of Honor was bringing in so many independent talent and putting great matches together. It was fantastic. Tony Khan ain't doing that shit. He's not doing that at all. And you can attach the AEW name to Ring of Honor if you want to. It's not going to mean jack shit. Nobody cares about Ring of Honor. And if you do, I'm sorry, man, but it's not a viable product. It's not. They want to put it on HBO Max as a part of their streaming deal? Okay, that's fine. You might get more eyeballs on a product with putting them on HBO Max. Maybe. But Ring of Honor is a dead company, man. It's not going anywhere. You need to focus on AEW, and that's the reason why I told you guys earlier that Tony Khan needs to release the reins a little bit. He's running too many dynamics of pro wrestling right now that he can't. His plate's full on a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week schedule. He needs to release the reins a little bit and give a little bit of trust into some other people that can really help this company. I'm not just talking about Christopher Daniels. As far as I'm concerned, I'd rather see Daniels back in the ring than Jarrett in the ring, to be honest. That's just my opinion. I think Daniels is way better of a wrestler than Jeff Jarrett, in my honest opinion. Bell to bell. But we had Danielson as a GM, if you will, of AEW. He's the sounding board, if you will, from Tony Khan. But these announcements need to happen. And because of that, AEW is struggling. Not just because of the announcement, but you can see it in the shows for the past couple weeks. Seriously. All In's supposed to be their biggest show of the year. And I feel like there's no build and lackadaisical booking towards this event. There's no build. The only match I told you right now, the only two matches on this damn card that actually mean a damn. And this is going to be a hot take for most people, but this is the God-honest truth. This is my God-honest opinion. The top two matches of All In right now that actually mean a damn, that fans are going to get invested in, are the match between MJF and Will Ospreay for the international title or the American Championship, or the matchup between Swerve and Bryan Danielson, title versus career match. That's the only two matches that they have right now that are going to hook, line, and sinker the fans. That's it. Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker, yeah, maybe when it was initially announced, yeah, everybody was excited. But like I told you guys earlier, man, Baker doesn't even seem like she wants to be a part of this match or even be in AEW right now. Because of the incident that happened between her and Tony Khan and MJF, and her getting suspended and fined from AEW. She seems like she does not want to be there, nor does she give a rat's ass about this matchup. That's just my God-honest truth, man. There's a lot of egos in AEW that's also crippling this company. Because Tony Khan, again, cannot be a damn boss. There has been multiple people, and I'm not the only one saying this, that Tony Khan's not a boss. He is a constant yes man. And that is it. And it's crippling this company. I understand he's a fan of pro wrestling, and it shows. And you want to book the shows for the wrestling sickos. Well, guess what, bud? That shit ain't working. It's not. You get 600,000 views, maybe a little bit over 600,000. When's the last time you guys can honestly say AEW's reached 1 million views for an episode? It's been a minute. It's been a while. And WWE is knocking that shit out of the box as far as ratings right now. If we're comparing apples to oranges. Let's be real, man. I mean, and how WWE books their talent and builds these storylines. AEW needs to adapt that shit immediately. You look at the Roman Reigns shit and the Bloodline. You look at the Judgment Day and the fallout from that between Rhea Ripley and Dominic and Damian Priest. Now we got a matchup between Damian Priest teaming up with Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. Continuing the damn storylines. Give it meaning, the what, the when, the how. That's what AEW needs to do. I don't want to see Adam Page going up against Jay Lethal or Jeff Jarrett. Give me a goddamn break. Page needs to look good in high-profile matches because from what I understand, Swerve is going to be having a matchup with Adam Page at All Out. Page should look like a badass, an indestructible force trying to take Swerve off the throne, if you will, and become the new AEW World Champion. If he's still champion after All In. That's how you should be booking Page, not in some bullshit matchup with Jay Lethal or Jeff Jarrett. That whole faction is bullshit, by the way. I don't know what the hell they're doing with that. It's a dead issue. Jay Lethal was a former Ring of Honor champion and Ring of Honor television champion at one time. He was one of the greatest champions that ever came out of Ring of Honor, and we're doing this shit with Jay Lethal? I cannot be the only person saying that they dropped the ball with Jay Lethal here. Come on. I mean, it's bullshit. Jay Lethal needs to get the hell away from Jarrett. And Sanjay Dutt. And Satnam Singh, and let him do his own damn thing. It actually might pan out for Jay Lethal if he does leave Jarrett. We can have him as TNT champion, or Continental champion, FTW champion. You know what I mean? International champion, AEW World champion. But that ain't never going to happen as long as Jay Lethal's connected to Jeff Jarrett. It's not going to happen. All In they need to hit a grand slam with All In. A reset button, like I said, if they had the Casino Gauntlet match, there needs to be surprises that come in that's going to shock the world. Adam Cole, Kenny Omega, possibly the debut of Ricochet, Bobby Lashley maybe. Let's get some household names or some new names into AEW that's going to give All In the pop that it deserves live from Wembley Stadium. That's what we need. And that's what the fans want. And if AEW and Tony Khan don't deliver that, I don't know what to tell you guys, man. AEW is going to be a slow burn for AEW until there's nothing else more to burn, and there's no more AEW. Because like I told you guys earlier, it's going to get to a point where if this shit keeps happening, AEW is no longer going to be a viable product anymore, and a lot of fans are not going to be wanting to be connected to AEW or really interested in watching the product anymore. Because we're getting the same shit rinse and repeat from AEW. AEW's whole mission statement was, we're going to change the world. Let's be different. Let's change the world. Okay. They have it maybe the first 3 years. Past 2 years now have been shit. Look at the tag team division, man. The Bucks finally defended their belt after a couple months now. AEW had the best tag team division in the freaking world. And now that tag team division is shit. So, for what it's worth, if the Lucha Bros, Penta, and Phoenix plan on leaving and going over to the WWE, I don't blame them. I don't blame them. What else are they fucking supposed to do over in AEW? Nothing. They done everything in AEW. Tony Khan and them don't give a shit about the AEW tag team division. That was one of the best things they had. And it's gone to shit. They don't have... I'm telling you right now, man. There's going to be so many men and women on that roster that are going to be looking to get the hell out of AEW. I'm telling you right now. And I'm telling you, it's going to take that one high-profile name to leave AEW to go over to WWE, and it's going to cripple that company. I mean, for goddamn sakes, I mean, with all due respect, you look at someone like Cody Rhodes when he left and went over to WWE, it almost damn near crippled this company. A lot of fans left to watch Cody Rhodes over at WWE, and God bless him for it. I know some people are like, oh, we need Cody Rhodes back. Cody Rhodes is having the best run of his career right now in WWE. And they welcomed him in with open arms and kept him have the same music package, all that shit. Gave him a high-profile match with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. His debut was at WrestleMania. His return was at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins in a high-profile match. I mean, they brought out the red carpet for Cody Rhodes, and it's been Sky's the limit. They strapped a rocket strip to his back, and he just took off with it. And he's the current WWE champion right now, in a great storyline. Cody Rhodes is doing great. You look at Jade Cargill and what she's done so far with WWE. Former WWE Women's Tag Team Champion. I mean, she's done well for herself, man. Jade's done a great job than what she's done in AEW. You don't think that some of those people over in AEW right now are looking at that shit and saying, you know what? I want to throw my hat in the ring and see what I can do over in WWE. If they can do that for Cody, or if they can do that for Jade, maybe I'll get the same treatment when I go over to WWE. You don't think Ricky Starks ain't thinking about that shit? Ricky Starks is good as gone. Wardlow, his ass is gone. He ain't sticking around. Wardlow ain't doing shit right now. Wardlow is sitting on his ass on the couch, waiting for a phone call for Tony Khan to see what he can do and book him into a storyline in a match. What are we doing with the Undisputed Kingdom? Why is he not the muscle for Undisputed Kingdom? We just saw Matt Taven and Mike Bennett last night attack, what was it, Kyle O'Reilly or Orange Cassidy, a part of that match, that triple threat match last night? What the fuck are we doing with Wardlow? This is the shit I'm talking about, man. This is the reason why this company's in the goddamn toilet. And you're going to have these names leave, man. They're going to be gone off the scene. And whoever is sticking around with AEW is either a pure lifer with AEW, then God bless them, or they don't want to go to WWE because they have nothing else. People like Adam Copeland or Christian Cage, where WWE might not even want them back. I know some people are saying, oh, Beth Phoenix no longer with WWE, maybe we should go over to AEW. Okay, that's great. And for what it's worth, the first run here with Copeland is better than his last 2 years with WWE, hands down. Copeland's done a fantastic job in AEW. And it sucked that he got injured in that cage match with Malachi Black. But if he didn't get injured, he'd still be on one hell of a run with that TNT title. He's done a fantastic job since he's been with AEW. I mean, hell, even Christian Cage. I said it from the jump. Cage is a better heel than he is a babyface. And he's done a fantastic job with the Patriarchy. Teaming up with Nick Wayne and Killswitch. He's doing a fantastic job with that shit. I don't blame Christian Cage at all. As far as I'm concerned, there's no reason why Cage can't be another TNT champion again. Or a Continental champion. World Heavyweight champion. I think he'd do a great job. They need to get their shit together and stop blaming the goddamn injuries on, oh, well, we can't do this because of injuries. I'm tired of hearing that shit, man. You got so much other talent on that roster right now that you can build superstars with the talent you have. Oh, but we got to make sure this person's, this person has to be clear, this person has to be okay. No, man. Same thing I said about Jamie Hayter. This will be the perfect opportunity to bring Jamie Hayter in. If she's healthy and has a clean bill of health, bring her back in, align herself up with Britt Baker. That way she can be Baker's muscle in this matchup with Baker and Monet at All In. Where you got Camille in Monet's corner and you got Jamie Hayter in Baker's corner. And watch these two girls duke it out for the TBS World Championship. It's self-explanatory shit is what I'm saying. Seriously. Even if Jamie Hayter came back as a heel and turned her back against Baker, so be it. Story writes itself. There you go. Next storyline for the next couple months. Done. You do the same thing with Camille and Monet after a while. Have Camille turn her back on Mercedes or vice versa. You don't think that shit's not going to happen eventually? Probably will. Look what happened with Mariah May and Toni Storm. It worked perfectly. I told you guys this is going to be another Mickie James Trish Stratus deal. And that's exactly what we're getting. The teacher versus the student. And that's what we're getting with Toni Storm versus Mariah May at All In for the AEW Women's World Championship. It's perfect. It writes itself. It's not hard to write a storyline. There's no reason to complicate it. But Tony Khan and AEW have a tendency to do that. I told you guys, man, they cannot book this shit like it's All Japan Pro Wrestling back in the late 80s to early 80s to late 80s. It's not going to happen. Fans don't give a shit about that. Fans in the U.S. want storyline. They want to know the when, the how, the where. That's what they want to know. And we're not getting that with AEW. We're not. You're throwing matches together. Oh, you know what? We're going to do a rematch here after this happened or this happened. That's fine, man. They're going to lose a lot more talent. Keith Lee, he's probably on his way out as well. It's going to happen. Malachi Black, when his contract's up, he's gone. He is gone. I'd be surprised and shocked if Malachi Black, once his contract's up, he sticks it out with AEW. Now, the way they're treating his ass right now in AEW, no, he is good as gone, ladies and gentlemen. Him and Buddy Matthews, they're gone. If WWE gives them an opportunity to come back, they're gone. They're good as gone. That's it. House of Black's over. And the only person left standing would be Brody King, unless Brody King says, you know what, the hell with it. If I can go with WWE too, I'm going too. And the House of Black's gone. That's it. At this point, I wouldn't even be surprised if John Moxley's not contemplating going back to WWE at this point. I honestly wouldn't. And I don't even know what the hell happened to Moxley. I don't know if he's injured. He's taking some time off. We haven't seen Mox in a little while. Who knows? Mox is not even going to be a part of All In this year, from what it seems. So AEW needs to hit the reset button, man. They need to come out fist swinging out of All In and lead the fans at a shock and awe. That's what you need to lead the fans with a cliffhanger after All In. That's what we need, and that's what we want. We need to hit the reset button. Let's get back to what we used to do before, or enhance what we're doing now, make it better, and get the fans back on board with AEW. Because if not, this company definitely has a shelf life, and it won't last long, in my honest opinion. AEW needs to hit the reset button at All In or after All In, without a shadow of a doubt. But with that being said, this is my review of AEW's Dynamite. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful, and remember,